So what happens when you get to the absolute peak of your life's work and you just walk away? Today, we're going to dive into this really profound personal journey of a master who did exactly that. He left everything he'd ever known right at the top of his game. This is the story of Silvius, and it all kicks off with this single, stunning statement. Just one sentence, and boom, we're already deep in a mystery. You see, this isn't just about retiring. It's a deliberate stop, a cessation. And as Silvius explains, this wasn't because he rejected the game or failed or was even just tired from old age. Nope. It was something else entirely. A sense of completion so absolute that it actually felt like, well, an emptiness. And that's the big question for us today, isn't it? It's the journey we're about to go on, to figure out what on earth could lead someone at the height of their powers to simply stop. To get there, though, we first have to understand the world he was leaving behind. To really get why he left, we've got to step into the extraordinary world he completely mastered, the intellectual province of Castalia, which was home to the legendary Glass Bead Game. Okay, so imagine an art form, or maybe more like a spiritual practice that lets you see the hidden unity in everything. The game was all about finding that structural link between, say, a poem and a piece of architecture, or between math and music. It was seen as the highest, most beautiful thing the human mind could possibly achieve. And you can see here, the discipline involved was just immense. This wasn't about finding some shallow similarities or making a few clever little analogies. That was for beginners. The real goal, the thing that marked you as a master, was to find genuine kinship, a deep structural connection that revealed something true about how the world works. And Silvius wasn't just some player. Oh no, he was a celebrated magister, one of the greats. After 50 years of dedicating his life to this, he had reached the absolute peak, which, of course, just makes the mystery of why he'd walk away that much deeper. So how did all this mastery lead to a crisis? Well, the paradox here is that it all began not with a failure, but with a moment of absolute success. It started, as he puts it, when the map he had so perfectly created started to forget it. It was just a map. The big turning point came during a meditation session. The theme he was given to think about was a simple one, but it was just full of potential. Threshold. I mean, think of all the places you could go with that. The space between musical notes, a pivotal moment in a poem, a doorway in architecture. It was the perfect theme for the game. And this just brilliantly sums up his terrifying realization. As he was weaving this incredible web of connections in his mind, he suddenly saw that every symbol was just leading to another symbol. His mind was just racing through its own beautiful library of references, but nowhere in that amazing web could he find the actual feeling of standing on a threshold. He even came up with a name for this problem, the locked bead. It's a symbol that, after decades of being elaborated on, had become its own little self-contained universe. He said it was like a window, but a window covered by a painting of the view outside that's so perfect and luminous that light still seems to come through, but you can no longer open it and feel the air. So here's the key takeaway. His absolute mastery, his ability to navigate the complex structures of the game in his sleep, had actually, paradoxically, blinded him to the world outside the system. He knew the room perfectly, but he couldn't see beyond its walls anymore. He had to get out. So Silvius does it. He leaves the abstract world of Castalia and ends up in a small, anonymous village. And here he starts a completely new, way more hands-on education in the simple wisdom of a garden. This slide really captures just how dramatic that shift was. He moves from the world of the map to the world of the territory, from this grand system of intellectual synthesis to the quiet, demanding presence of the senses. He basically had to unlearn 50 years of training. And let me tell you, the garden was a humbling teacher. It taught him that the soil has a wisdom that your calendar just doesn't get. It taught him that some knowledge isn't in your head at all. It lives in your hands, in your timing. And, maybe most importantly, he learned that the earth was not at all interested in his beautiful analogies. It demanded a totally different kind of attention. And this is the profound result of his new education. His entire perception of meaning just flips. The remarkable thing is no longer found in some grand, sweeping synthesis of ideas. Nope, it's found in simple, attentive presence to whatever is right in front of you.
The ordinary becomes the new source of wonder.
So this brings us to the culmination of his whole journey. It wasn't about replacing the game with some new system. It was about a single, quiet moment of insight that would reframe everything and finally reveal what his 50 years of practice had really been for. His first big breakthrough was this. The world doesn't actually need us to interpret it to be meaningful. It doesn't need us to connect its dots. It's already whole, already complete, a sufficient text all on its own. And this simple, powerful image just says it all. After a lifetime spent connecting Bach to mathematics, he finds his ultimate truth just by looking at a simple cup. He shifts from a mind that is constantly looking for connections about the world to a mind that is simply experiencing the world. And really, that's it. That's the final summary of his entire journey. 50 years mastering the most complex system of connections you can imagine, all to arrive, finally, at the thing itself. Not its representation, not its place in some grand theory, just the quiet, radiant reality of the cup. So this leaves us with a really provocative thought. Silvius' story suggests that maybe the game wasn't wrong. Maybe true mastery isn't a destination at all, but a very, very long and difficult preparation for its own end. A path that if you follow it honestly all the way, leads you right to the gate of the garden, where the real work can finally begin.